You're listening to Speaking Stellar Girl with Teri and Kate, an interview series that inspires women to live their most stellar life. Teri is the co-founder of the Stellar Girl movement, and she is sitting down with women all over the world to hear about the key moments in their lives and how they live boldly, compassionately, and ultimately became a stellar girl.
Welcome to Speaking Stellar Girl. I'm your host, Teri and Kate, and I'm thrilled today to have Kate March joining me. Kate is the founder and designer of the urban-chic vintage streetwear band UNDONE by Kate. With a background in celebrity wardrobe styling, Kate was always on the hunt for the perfect vintage tee that was different yet still wearable. What started off as a quarantine hobby of sewing t-shirts in her bedroom, it turned quickly into a full-time sustainable fashion brand. Each piece is reworked from materials that would have otherwise ended up in a landfill. I am sold. I'm a fan customer, as you can see for those of you watching on YouTube and not listening on Apple and Spotify. I'm so looking forward to hearing more about your journey and your story and find out where UNDONE is headed. Welcome, Kate, to Speaking Stellar Girl.
Thank you so much for having me and that great intro.
Well, I'm a fan, and we only met a week ago. I got my pieces like within, less than 4 days, I think. Obviously it started during the pandemic in March 2020. And this is, definitely, had a story and a journey of its own. You started off with celebrity dressing. So let's talk about a little bit about your background before we get into your exciting new brand.
Yeah, so I went to college actually for international business management, and I always had, when I was applying, I wanted to go to fashion school. I got actually denied from FIT and Parsons, which I thought it was like the end of the world. I went to Pace for Business, and I made it my goal to intern every single semester. At a fashion house, at a PR agency, anywhere I could to just get the fashion experience, because I was getting all of like the business management in school. So my first styling internship was with Kate, who is the co-collaborator on this tee that you're wearing.
Oh,
yes. So she posted for a styling internship when I was a sophomore in college, and I was like, what is a styling internship? Like, what does that even mean?
Okay.
So she took me on under her wing, and I learned everything about e-com wardrobe styling, celebrity wardrobe styling, literally all the ins and outs, what it means to be a wardrobe stylist and how to do it properly. After that, I interned for her for all the rest of school. I did a little freelancing with her, and then I worked for Michaela Erlanger, who dresses Meryl Streep and Lupita Nyong'o. She's brilliant, and it was like an honor getting to work under her. I still do. But I started freelancing for Michaela, and then quickly it became a full-time job. She hired me as 9 to 5. And my role there was pretty much wearing all the hats. We would get ready for fittings. We would be running around pulling for clients. Mm-hmm. And then there's like the not so fun side of like invoicing, expenses.
And schlepping everything around.
And schlepping.
I did celebrity wardrobe styling in my 20s, and I just found like I was constantly like Girl Friday, like running around, schlepping all these clothes around, making sure everything was done right. Michaela's a legend, and she's amazing. She's just a spectacular human. So
she is. I learned so much from her, and especially because I was coming from e-com styling with Audrey and really going into more of the celebrity private event, press events. It's kind of like two different worlds, really. And it was, I still am styling kind of on the side. I have some of my own clients now, but it's actually something that was my full time now turned into my like side hustle, and now UNDONE is my full time. So,
well, I just want to celebrate you because what you've done in less than 2 years is absolutely amazing. I love your pieces. I've bought a few, and a few more are on their way, and and I can't wait to sport those out here. But what inspired you to like, okay, let's take these two bands. Let's take these two, because obviously this is just Led Zeppelin, but you have so many that are like split band tees and that are so unique. Like no one does that.
Thank you.
So that's amazing.
I started, okay, so the band tee is actually how it all started.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So backtrack, when I was working 9 to 5 with Michaela, when the pandemic hit, we had no events. Like literally every single event we had on the calendar dropped. So we all lost work. We all were like pretty much furloughed. And I had this weird transition in my life going on because I was living in New York. My boyfriend was in Connecticut. And so I ended up just quarantining with him.
Okay.
His mom gifted me a sewing machine and she was like, make a quilt or like make something. Like you're going to be so bored, because I'm a busy person. Like I need my hands moving at all times.
You're a get up and go girl.
Oh yeah. Like even in a pandemic, I'm like, I need something to do or else I'm going to go crazy.
Yeah.
So she gifted me the sewing machine and she kind of like taught me how to start. We did a lot of YouTube lessons, all that jazz. But I didn't really have like materials. And the only things I had at his house, I'm a vintage lover. So I've always had like a great collection of thrifted band tees. So I took these 2 Guns N' Roses shirts that I had,
okay,
and I just literally like hacked them up with my janky scissors that I had, and I sewed them together. And I was like, this is kind of cute.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. So I put it on Instagram, like my personal, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so bored. Look, I just literally learned to sew. Ha ha, like funny.
Mm-hmm.
Not thinking anything of it. And people were like, wow, this is so cool. Like, how do I buy this? Like, can you make me one? And it first started off as like friends and family. And then word started going around, like this girl is upcycling t-shirts online. I would go like on live sometimes and do lives of me like picking the shirts and how to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where we started with the Guns N' Roses t-shirt. So then moving from there, all of my orders for the first like month, when this was not a real business, it was just like making t-shirts for fun. Yeah.
Okay.
I was going through like Poshmark, eBay, like resellers. And it really took a long time to find a quality, cool vintage shirt. And I was adamant that I didn't want to be buying just like cheap band shirts.
Okay.
Like I really wanted to keep the vintage nostalgia, like the one of a kind presence to it. Cause I thought that's really what made it so fun for me at that time, was having a new piece to rework every single time.
Yeah. Do you have do you love the bands from like the 70s and 80s? Is that your kind of go-to, or would you even make like a Backstreet Boys t-shirt?
I've done Backstreet Boys and like a little Y2K. I'll do it all. Yeah.
A little Justin Bieber, maybe. I don't know.
I'm a diehard fan. I will make Justin Bieber tees all day as long as someone will buy them.
Justin Bieber. So let's go to Britney, because you have this Britney jacket that I am in love with. And I know that they're all different, because I can't even talk about them. Can I talk?
Yeah,
okay,
totally.
Because they're like this jean jacket, this oversized. Some of them are, I guess they're all different because they're all upcycled vintage, one of a kind jackets that you find, whether they're Levi's or who knows, where, Wrangler, maybe even, dare I say, which
yes.
That is all coming back now. Right. So, and then she puts this plumage trim on the collar and on the sleeve cuff. And then she also adds like maybe like a rhinestone. Is that correct? Like a rhinestone piece that's circled around. And so you guys can kind of build your own on your custom order form, which is such a great idea, because you're making a piece with a designer, like one-on-one with you. And you're selecting maybe your colors of your plumage. Maybe you're selecting like a darker denim or a lighter denim. So like, that's got to be fun too, to work with your clients like one-on-one directly. And then they're sporting something that no one else has.
Yeah. Custom is really fun. And it's something I'm trying to bring into the new year more, because a lot of the times I try to have a wide variety on the site at all times, but since it's one of one, there will be like, of course, one tee that everyone goes crazy for. And they're like, I want this one. I want it exactly like that. So with custom, we can get it as close to that tea as possible. And sometimes I can even find, like, if it's a vintage Nirvana, I can scour my sources and maybe I will find, you know, the exact one or something similar.
Right.
Custom's a lot of fun because, like, you tell me what you want, I enhance your idea, but we work together. It's not like you just send me what you want. It's very much like a
collaboration.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love it. So let's talk about your sourcing, because you mentioned that. So I'm a vintage lover. I have a vintage closet in my house. I've been collecting for the past 15 years, but I love stuff from like even the 50s and the 60s, like old dresses, old plaid pieces are my favorite. I know that you rework a lot of plaid. You cut them in half and have the two-tone plaid. You also do blazers, which I love mine, by the way. And so people have to go check that out. But your sourcing, I mean, it's a scary thing for a lot of people who are not familiar or not comfortable going into a thrift market or into a warehouse that hold all of these materials. And they're all sustainable. They're all upcycled vintage clothing that you source. It's a difficult process and people don't understand that. Can you explain your sourcing and where you go, where your favorite places? I noticed that you were in New Jersey on Instagram the other day.
Yeah. So I think that sourcing is, I actually just had a call with a younger high school student. She reached out to me. She was like, I'm trying to start an upcycle brand. How can I start? And all of her main questions were really about sourcing. And it is something so important if you are going to be an upcycle brand, because at the end of the day, we're taking used clothing and giving it another life.
Mm-hmm.
So the used clothing that you're getting has to be of the best quality. You know, you have to make sure when you're sourcing, if there's stains, you can launder them. You have to make sure that we're giving it a new life, but we're doing it in a very chic, clean, desirable way. So that's the hardest part when sourcing, is really like, you have to have an eye for it, I think.
Of course.
And also where you go is important. Now that thrifting is kind of like trending right now, the market is a little bit oversaturated. So I was lucky enough to find a partner like early on when I started the business, because it takes a lot of time to source. So I like to chunk up my process into like assembly line style.
Okay.
So I'll go sourcing at a warehouse for about a month and I'll get all of it done in that day. And I go in with a plan. So if I have any wholesale orders that I need to fulfill, I'll go in with that plan. And if I have any retail orders I need to fulfill, I'll go in with that plan. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's always important to plan your buy because it's all one of a kind and you don't want to overbuy. Also, that's a big thing because we're sustainable brands, right? You want to only buy what you need, do a drop, and then potentially maybe next month you go back.
Right. So, you're your own seamstress. Do you have a team that assists you at all? Are you?
Yes, I have an amazing team. I started just by upcycling everything myself.
Okay.
And then I recently just hired a seamstress to help us. So now the process, it used to be I source, I design, I cut, I sew, I quality check, I do it all. Now it's a little bit more easy on me. I source, I design, cut, and then it all goes to the seamstress. She makes it beautiful, she quality checks it, and then we go over everything together and then we'll shoot it and drop it.
That's awesome.
I also have an amazing assistant, Steph. She has been with me from the beginning. She has really, really helped grow the brand, and she's younger than me. So she really brings that fresh eye. And also my other assistant, Ellie, who's been with me from the beginning too. So those two girls are
you got to have your Stellar Girl squad, right? You got to have the girls that support you and hype you up and bring your brand to, have a different perspective on things, because it's always good to learn from each other for sure.
100%.
So what's up and coming? I know you have your own showroom. Is that new in New York?
Yes. We just moved in August, and
what area are you in New York?
We're in Chelsea. We're on 26th and 6th. and it has been a whirlwind moving in here. We just hosted a pop-up shop in this building. We're trying to do shopping appointments. So if you are in the New York area, you can come in, you can try on, and we could even create a custom piece right here because I have all of my inventory. So that's fun too. So we're trying to really like push in person as comfortably as we can, you know, COVID times, and really get back on track with direct to consumer sales, you know, really like pop-up shops, website sales. I did a lot of wholesale last year, so I'm really hoping to like hone in on my girls and my customers this year.
Okay. So you said you were at about 10 stores. Is that only in the New York area or is it across the country?
Across the country.
Across the country. So people can buy Undone by Kate at other vintage stores, or are they at more of a boutique store that carries like a vintage section?
They're more boutique stores that carry vintage section. And some of the people I've got to work with have been really amazing. And I've really enjoyed wholesale because for stores, it's so different. You know, we have a lookbook. So it's like the split flannel, the split tee, split blazer. Then we have like other shirts with, you know, like patching on them. And basically they can order like 20 patch shirts, but each shirt's going to be different. So it's a capsule for their store, which I think is really interesting. And it's something new in the retail market. It really sets a store aside from the rest.
And so up for Valentine's Day, because, you know, we're approaching that time of the year, you're making some corsets or
yes,
so,
we are
like lace up, like talk.
It's going to be so good. They're dropping on February 4th.
Okay.
Friday, the first Friday in February, they're dropping at 10 a.m. It's a corset set. The skirts are going to be lace up, so adjustable. You can show as much skin or as little skin as you want. The corsets are to die for. They're reversible. One side is a pattern, one side is a plain.
Okay.
And then we're also dropping more blazers to go with it. So you can literally just make your whole Valentine's Day outfit with us.
Right. With that. That's awesome. Because I noticed that you do mostly like waist up or, you know, tops, because that's what most people fit into, because you can't really size always your vintage. You know, it's kind of like one size fits most, right? So you now do, if you're doing skirts, is it maxi, mini, midi?
It's a mini skirt. And I wanted the lace up function on it because they'll be size. We'll have small through extra large.
Okay.
But you have a little bit of wiggle room with the lace up, you know? So if you're like, I would say a small is more like a small medium if you want to show a little more skin, pull it tighter. And it's our first time really venturing into bottoms.
Right. Because you don't do jeans or anything yet.
No, I had a store who purchased Levi's denim shorts that were upcycled. So we put some like really cool flannel patches on them. But that was my first time doing bottoms. And I think that I would love to, but I need, you know, we're like experimenting with it behind the scenes, but it has to be perfect before it gets launched. Especially because buying bottoms online is really hard. I think that's something like I've always struggled with.
Yeah. The fits are always so different, whether they're high waisted and then they're too short in the, like the torso area, or they're, you know, and it's okay. I mean, most vintage stuff you have to, you know, get altered. I mean, and that's what people are scared about. They go in and they're like, oh, this doesn't fit. This doesn't fit. Well, no, just spend $8 and get it hemmed or figure that out.
Right.
So it's a bit easier. I want to talk about hold on. I'm going to grab your tag.
Yeah.
I love your tag. So I'm going to read about it. Have it right here. I should have had it in front of me. So it says, for the people who dare to be fashionably different. And I love that, because what I talk about with Stellar Girl all the time is that we should be dressing for our moods and destinations. Yeah, we look for inspiration, whether we do it on Instagram, whether we do it in print. I love a good magazine. That's my favorite thing to do. My downtime, when you do like a lot of flipping and tear sheets and you pull different things, like I could make that look work. But I mean, to be fashionably different, you want to be unique. You want to wear something that no one else has. And when I was doing styling, everyone's like, oh, you know, a lot of people bought the basics. I'm like, yeah, that's great. That's a great place to start. But what are you going to do to make that outfit different than the woman next door. And that's why I'm not a huge fan of like, I mean, of course, I'm not going to shut down Nordstrom because they're monstrous and they've done so well. But you go there and then you see like 20 other people wearing the same outfit or the same shirt or the same boots as everyone else who shops at Nordstrom. And it's so fun to go and be different and to dress for your mood and put on what makes you happy every day. So I loved I mean, obviously you're a businesswoman as well, not just a creative talent. But you were in so much, you learned so much from your schooling that you were able to take your passion of creation and sewing and vintage, designing into a very profitable business. And I just think that's absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think like to your point that individuality in fashion is so important, and something I took from styling into this company was that, and especially now with fast fashion, we have people mass producing things. Everyone's wearing the green crop top from Zara. Everyone's wearing this piece from ASOS. You know what I mean? So like, what is setting you, when we're all wearing the same thing, we lose personal style. Like it's not personal anymore. Yeah. It's just what everyone's wearing. So something that I really love about UNDONE is that literally no two pieces are going to be the same. There's always some slight, like even these Led Zeppelin shirts, we were able to get them, in multiples, which is amazing. But even with them, like you'll never know two shirts will ever be the same.
No, like I like tucking this under like my strap and then kind of making
so cute.
It into like a muscle tee. I was like playing with it last night when I got it. I'm like, there's like so many ways that you can wear this. And even like you pull it around, I can't do it now because it'll show but you just like turn it around and pull down and tuck it.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks so cute, like under a sweater. And I even put it over top of like a long black sleeve turtleneck. I mean, there's just so many ways because it fits so well. Like the cut is really like impeccable. So you've done such a good job and I'm so excited. So let's just talk quickly before we sign off about how we can better champion women, because this is a brand and a community that celebrates, inspires, champions, and supports businesses, women. How can we better do that these days?
I think from something I've learned from being an employee in fashion and now a founder in fashion is all about how you treat your team. And how are we inspiring like the younger generation to make good, sound decisions that are like helping our community, that are making a difference. I always say that like if you're a manager or if you're running a team, like you have one of the most important jobs because you're really like people who work for you, they're with you all the time. And you want to make sure that they are celebrated and they're happy and they're working towards their goals as well. So I always say to the girls on my team and even our new interns that we have, coming for semesters, like I'm an open book and I want to teach you as much as I possibly can so that you can succeed in the future. I never want to I'll never gatekeep or anything. Like I really want to have that like mentor-mentee relationship with my team, and we really do. And I think that's a way, to inspire people and make great creators. Like I would love for one of my girls to create their own brand one day. I would totally be so down for that.
Yeah, there's room for everybody, that you're not really competing. There's room for all of us to succeed. And that's such a Stellar Girl mindset. And I love that because we can always learn from the people that are working for us. There's always room for that. And so thank you so much for being on Speaking Stellar Girl and sharing your journey and your story. I wish you nothing but the best and most success. And I can't wait to come visit your showroom when I'm in New York next. I can't wait to shop your drops and get my Valentine's Day corset. And it's just awesome. And my hats are coming. So, I mean, I love the power of social media because I would have never found you without it. And so we're so lucky. So thank you so much again.
Yes, I'm so happy that we have connected and met. And thanks so much for having me. Like it really means so much to me.
You are so welcome. Talk to you soon on the other side.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that bell icon to be notified of new episodes. To learn more about the Stellar Girl movement, please visit us at stellargirl.com.